Welcome everybody to the T&T Timeout, episode 1. I am one of your hosts, Trevor Bellino.
I'm your other host. I'm Trey Hartline.
And this is our first run at the show, so we're going to give it a shot, see how everything goes.
Before we start, though, I had a list of applicants to be my co-host, and I chose you. But before we solidify this, I have a few interview questions. They're just company mandated, nothing serious. It's just kind of you gotta go through it. If that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
All right. Just what's your name again?
Trevor.
Okay. And your age?
24.
24. Big guy. How tall are you?
5'5" in shoes.
Perfect. I'm the taller host. I want everybody to know that. Dogs or cats?
This is a tough one, but I'm going to have to say the average cat is better, but a good dog outperforms a good cat any day of the week.
I don't want any fence-sitting answers. I want dogs or cats.
Okay, we'll go with the dogs here then.
Okay, good answer. Good answer. I like cats though too, but dogs are better. And then let's get into some fun ones. You're going on a first date with a girl. You're at a bar. She tells you, order me anything. You go up to the bar. What do you get for yourself and her? She's not with you.
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest. Normally, I would go for a vodka Red Bull myself, but that feels a little bit crazy. So, depending on the girl and depending on the vibe of the date, I'm going to get her a vodka cranberry either way. It's just a good play when you're out with a girl. That's a safe drink.
I'm
and then
guessing
for myself,
you just
I'll
do
either
missionary too. I'm sorry.
What is that notebook you have? What is that notebook you have, sir?
It's my question book from corporate.
Understood. For myself, I'm getting either a vodka soda or a beer, depending on the situation.
Gotcha. Yeah, match her energy, or be the classic beer. Thank you. Those are great answers. So I'm going to list you some events, and I want you to pick if you could only go to 2 of them. What would they be? So we have Game 7 of the NBA Finals, Game 7 of the World Series, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, the Super Bowl, the CFP National Championship, March Madness Final, or the Masters. You can only go to 2.
Okay. So right away, I'm
Basically,
going to tell you
any
the Stanley Cup is
sport.
out. The Stanley Cup is out. And I am a professional sports guy, so as exciting as the Natty is, as exciting as March Madness Finals are, I think I'm going to have to stick in the pro sports realm. And for me personally, to be honest, the Super Bowl's a super lock at number 1. I think anyone would tell you that. And I would usually say I'm a bigger basketball fan than baseball fan, but World Series Game 7 is extremely enticing. But I think being at the Masters on Sunday is going to take number 2.
Out of left field.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to have to go with the Super Bowl and the Masters, especially if we're there on Sunday. If we can go all 4 days, that'd be great.
Yeah. Would it affect if the World Series and NBA Finals were your favorite teams playing?
I would easily go to see my favorite team over the Masters.
Okay. And then just one last question. We looked into your socials. We saw that you like blind ranking things. So I have things to blind rank. We're going to blind rank some beers here. 5 in total.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm going to keep notes. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Take your time. The first one is the garage beer. Just in a garage, maybe a few buddies.
Garage beer. All right. I mean, the garage beer is good, but you're not outside. You're not in the shower. You're not in an airport. There's a lot of good players that I think are going to come in here. I don't think this is the worst. I like a garage beer. You learn a lot about the boys, similar to what we're going to be doing for the next hour, really.
Yeah.
But I'm going to throw it at 4.
Okay. The next one is the beach or lake beer, whichever one you would prefer.
Yeah, and to be honest, both of these play very well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm personally going to go beach over lake in this situation, and I'm imagining I'm sitting on the beach drinking a Corona with a lime. It's the first one because, like after the first one, and it gets sandy and you get all that sand in your bottle. Not really the greatest thing ever. But I'm going to put that at 2. And there's only one beer that can top this. Maybe 2. But I'm going to throw that at the 2 spot.
We'll speak on those later, maybe if they're not said. I don't got every beer here. I only got 5.
Of course.
The next one, you did mention it. It's the airport beer.
Yeah. So here's where it gets tricky. I think the airport beer might beat out the beach beer. But there's one that I'm holding out for. I think I said it. Everybody knows it. I'm going to put the airport beer at 3. I honestly wish it was above the beach beer. But airport beer is great because you could go there. It could be 6 o'clock on a Wednesday. And I'm not saying I'm going to get a beer every time I go to the airport at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday.
You're not.
But if you did,
you're not.
If you did, nobody would judge you. You can do whatever you want at the airport. And so there's something great about that.
12, 5 p.m. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Young man's 4 or young man's 5.
Next, we have the bar beer. Classic bar setting, having a beer on a bar stool. Draft.
Yeah,
probably.
and I am going to put him last, which is unfortunate for the bar beer because, I mean, he's a consistent role player. Like, everybody goes to the bar beer, but he's just not doing anything special. This is like if you're talking about top 5 receivers in the league and somebody says Mike Evans, the guy is special. He's a Hall of Famer, guaranteed. But, like, when have you ever heard him in the conversation for top 3, top 5,
You're right.
He's just great all the time, but he's never the best.
It's like ordering a vodka cran for a girl. It's like Mike Evans, vodka cran. What's the difference?
Crazy. That's crazy.
The last beer, it's not the shower beer. I'll tell you right now, it's not the shower beer. I did not include it on purpose, but I think you're going to like this still. It's the golf course beer.
That's amazing as well. I mean, that's a great number 1. I'm totally fine with that.
So in conclusion,
that's a pretty good list.
Golf course beer at 1, the beach beer at 2, the airport beer at 3, the garage beer at 4, and a bar beer at 5. That's
a pretty good list. I'm happy with it.
I'm gonna run this by corporate. We'll get back to you in about 3 to 5 seconds. And yeah, you're hired.
Awesome.
Pleasure doing business with you.
I was prepped by HR, and they said that you're kind of the expert on this whole interviewing thing. So I have some questions for you as well. But because you're so good at this, mine are a little more abstract. Yours are pretty cut and dry.
Okay.
You're going to have to really think for these.
Oh, like existentially or like mathematically?
Maybe. Maybe. The first one's a little mathematical.
Do I need a calculator?
I don't think you'll need a calculator.
Do I need my paper?
I want you to tell me, how many balloons do you think it would take to get you off the ground?
Wow. I've seen some clips of like people doing this, but like usually with like a dog or like a cat, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I weigh about $165, and those dogs don't weigh that much, and they need a lot of balloons.
How big are we talking?
Small. Like dog.
These, what, like 20 pounds?
Probably.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I think it would take it's too high. I think 15,000 balloons to lift me up.
15,000. Okay. So I'm gonna phone a friend here. I've got quite the friend who's gonna be able to answer this for us pretty quick.
Okay. Can I ask who the friend is?
And his name is Chat.
Oh, Chad or
Chat.
Chat. Oh, that's an interesting name. You see I'm on speed dial like that?
Yep, I do actually. Oh. So we're going to ask, how many helium balloons would it take to lift 165 pounds?
You're jump checking me out the gate?
Can you remind me of your answer?
15,000.
Okay, well, you are off by a factor of 3. It's actually about 5,000 balloons with an 11-inch diameter.
See, I wouldn't say... That's not bad. Yeah,
not bad at all. I'm happy with that. All right, this next one. You've got a room. It's 10 by 10 by 10.
That's like what my room I'm in right now is.
Perfect. It's pitch black. There's minimal sound. It's not going to be one of those rooms where, you go crazy because it's so quiet. And we're going to take out barriers like using the bathroom and eating food. That'll all happen, no problem. So you don't need to worry about that. Every hour you stay in this room, you get $100,000.
Oh.
But if you fail, you get no dollars. So if you say,
fail?
I could stay in there for 120 hours, and you freak out and you say, let me out on the 119th hour, then you lose. And here's the catch.
Is there a timer in there?
You have no idea what time it is. How many hours are you choosing to stay in this room?
I get $100,000 per hour.
$100,000 per hour.
So one day is $2.4 million.
That's correct.
I'd stay in there for one day. I mean, I think I could do it for more. My eyes are still closed. I think I could do it for more. I can be by myself for a while. I think I could do it. But I know how hard it is to tell time without a timer. So I think I'd just do one day, try to go through like my routines, and then stay in there, like make sure I'm in there a lot longer than a day to just solidify it and take my 2.4 mil.
So at 24 hours, I'll tell you.
You can't go past. Oh, I thought you could go past. Oh, that's different. Okay.
No.
If you're going to tell me when I'm done, then 100 hours.
Imagine you're in there.
100 hours.
100 hours is crazy, dude.
You're giving me food. You're giving me food, and I can take a piss in a bucket.
You think you can sit in a room for 4 days and 4 hours, piss in a bucket? You'll have no trouble finding it.
For $10 million, I'll have no trouble finding it.
Okay, episode 2, testing it out.
100 hours in my room with nothing in it.
All right, let's move on.
$10 million? You don't think you could?
First, just a very basic question, and there is the right answer. Do you think ghosts are real?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think ghosts wear? Like, do they have to wear the outfit they died in, or do they get to pick? Do they have a closet?
I think they wear whatever like their outfit is. Like, like if I were to die and you guys saw me, I would be wearing like this, like what you just like whatever everybody imagines me in, like my image is what I'd be. So you don't pick. It wouldn't be what you die in, but it'd just be like a normal look for that person. So it's not like that jarring. If that makes sense.
Don't their clothes get dirty? They never change?
No, they're ghosts. Nothing can touch them. There's no dirt on them.
Okay.
They're cleaner than us.
I personally think that they probably have like, I was thinking about this earlier, and I think they probably have like a closet of clothes. But then I was curious if there's like, department stores for ghosts. Yeah, like if a ghost goes to whatever, Neiman Marcus, are there options for him? Or do we only really consider, the living? And if there's not options for him, is that discrimination? Is that something we should be talking about?
So, like, where Walmart is, would there be a ghost Walmart right on top of it in the ghost world that they could visit?
I think, theoretically, that's where I'm going.
And they work their ghost jobs, so once you die, you're still living in hell. At your 9 to 5, trying to make it past every day.
Yeah, and you have to listen, I don't know. Maybe this could be an entire episode. This is a little bit too philosophical.
It did get existential, and it did get mathematical, so you did deliver.
I have one final question. This one's much easier.
Okay.
If air had a flavor, what flavor would you choose?
The mystery.
You always are tasting
mystery flavor of an airhead.
100% of the time, you think you could deal with that flavor?
Wait. Okay. I thought you were saying
air tastes like.
I thought you were saying if it does have a flavor, what do you think it'd be? Not if I could pick it.
Oh no, you're choosing. And
if I could pick,
air is going to taste like this all the time forever.
Lemonade.
Do you never get sick of lemonade?
No, I love lemonade. I drink lemonade every day.
Okay, that's a great answer then.
Tell me you wouldn't do that.
I mean, I would probably go with like something. I think I would go with something savory, like salty almost.
Yeah, I'm not a big salt guy.
I think I would get sick of sweet, because you also have to consider that this flavor.
It's sweet and sour.
Okay, I have a new answer. You know how they say that anything can go with either chocolate or cheese?
Ew, don't say it.
Anything can go with one of those two things.
I thought you were going to say both. I hope it tastes like both at the same
no,
time.
I'm just going to pick one of those, because otherwise, think about it. think about this. You're having like cookie dough ice cream, but you
Mhm.
get like a little bit of air taste in there, and it's
But when you
lemonade.
get a little sick of chocolate, and I don't like cheese, so I'm not picking cheese.
Cheese would be a crazy answer. I think I gotta go chocolate.
You
Yeah,
said
but
you didn't
then
want to
imagine
be
that,
that
like,
sweet. You said
you-
lemonade was sweet. You're talking about chocolate.
I know. Yeah, but think about like if you eat a steak and there's like a little chocolate in there. That sounds pretty good. If you eat like
Does it?
if you drink a lemonade and there's like a little chocolate,
That
chocolate
doesn't sound
lemon,
good.
It's definitely fine. I would argue that it would taste
Ugh.
fine, better than lemonade and I don't know anything. Okay, not anything. You get my point.
I get it. I get it. But
Okay,
it's not right. But I get it.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Should we get into talking about like real things?
Yeah, probably. I approve of you as
Oh,
host.
sorry. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now that it's official, welcome again to the T&T Timeout. I'm Trey. That's Trev. And first off, we're going to kick off with what's on everyone's mind. That's the NFL playoffs. So, I think we're going to predict the whole bracket. We're going to predict this round with spreads. What do you want to start off with, Trev?
To be honest, I feel like we have to give a bit of a disclaimer here. I'm a birds guy, and I want to let everybody know that before we get into this that it could influence, but I'm going to try to be as honest as I can.
Yeah, I like to think I'm a sane Philadelphia sports fan. I'm unbiased when I need to be, but I am as well a Philadelphia sports fan, but I try to put that aside.
All right, let's get into the first game. What do we got?
We're doing spreads first?
Sure.
Okay, I got FanDuel pulled up, or insert sportsbook name here pulled up.
Feel free to
Sponsor us.
sponsor.
Sponsor us. We'll go with the first game, first time, is Chargers at Texans at 4:30 on Saturday. Who do you like?
I got to go with the Chargers here, to be honest with you. I think that the Texans are looking at Stroud, who, he's no veteran. He's still a young guy. He could probably, not that Herbert isn't, but Stroud's younger. He could definitely feel a lot of pressure in a playoff game. And Nico is elite. He's great. But I think the Chargers can focus in on him. And then who are you looking at after that? Who's their other option? They got Deontay Johnson. I think that guy is good at football again. I mean, he had a few good games with the Panthers, but you're really
John
looking
Mechie.
at. I mean, I know Mechie.
They're tight
Shout out
ends.
my dynasty.
I
league.
agree
Great
with
guy.
you. I'm also.
Yeah.
It's the spread's minus 2.5. By the way, I'm taking Chargers to win and Chargers to cover as well.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think Stroud's sophomore slump has been not good. It's been a slump. They have some momentum off last game, which they needed, but it was the Titans, so I don't think it's too impactful. And I think momentum is huge for playoffs. Chargers have been killing it with Harbaugh as their coach. He just clicks with that team, and he's got them rallying. And I like the Chargers. I like Herbert. They have a great number one in Ladd, and they have a solid 2-3 combo with Johnston and Palmer. And I don't want to say it's going to be a blowout, but I could see like a double-digit win, like 10 points.
I could totally see that. One of the big things that they say is a lot of the time in the playoffs, the favorites cover the spreads, and underdogs win outright.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know the exact number, but everybody's going to win, so it happens a lot. Yeah,
I forgot about that. And then also, I mean, I love the Chargers running the ball because they throw 6 linemen in there, and then they throw 2 fullbacks in there, and they just tell the defense they're running, and they still get yards with all their backs they have mixing in there. I don't know.
Yeah,
Harbaugh
they
has
have
them.
what? They just got Zeke to be what? RB4?
They got Zeke. They have Dobbins, Vidal,
Yeah.
Haskins, and Zeke. Wow. And then they have the 2
Is Gus
fullbacks
done
that
for the
play.
playoffs?
I don't know. I know he's definitely not playing
Either
this
way.
week. Yeah,
Plenty of options.
plenty of options. Game number 2, same day, same conference. Steelers at Ravens. Ravens are minus 9.5.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
I think that's a lot
And
too.
I still feel like they might do it.
Yeah.
If I had to go gut, I'd probably say Ravens to win, but don't cover. But I also think that there's a real opportunity for the Steelers to just totally blow up.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of the Steelers' way these days.
Dogs win outright or favorites cover, so
yep.
It's a tough situation. I mean, if I had to pick a side, I'm picking Ravens minus 9.5. The Steelers have lost 4 games. I just talked about momentum. Steelers lost 4 games going into playoffs. Russ has been looking limited, extra limited. I allegedly would start Justin Fields in this game.
I mean, I would, like, on paper, I would start Justin Fields, but I don't think you can do that. No,
you can't do it.
But
allegedly, I'd do it, but you couldn't do it.
I would, if I was the coach, I would, and I never wish injuries upon anyone. That's not what I'm saying. But
yeah.
If I was the coach, I would almost be hoping that Russ went down, so my team would gather around Fields and carry him to a win.
That's probably not going to happen. Start off the season with the Steelers?
4-2.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, it's a tough situation for Tomlin, but they just lost 4 games in a row and haven't been looking good at all. They need something to switch up, and they're playing the Ravens, who have played them 2 times. But with that said, it is a divisional matchup, so anybody could win. And I hope the Steelers win. I think that'd be fun.
Lamar's been very vulnerable in the playoffs. He tends to fail terribly in the playoffs, but I mean, the Steelers' best player hasn't even shown me that he's mentally stable. So I think there's a real chance that George Pickens gets thrown out of the game.
You've called him
and then you're looking
schizophrenic? Is that right?
I mean, I may have said that.
That was in a report for the hiring process.
I may have said that before. I would stand by that statement. I mean, did you see that play against the Giants? He literally did a flying elbow to the guy.
He did an elbow drop.
So
you said the
Ravens here.
Yeah, the Ravens in playoffs, though. I was a known Ravens hater, not because I didn't like any of the players. It's just because it was free every year that they'd be a first-round bust. Because all Lamar did was run, and then defenses just spread out, and then he couldn't run, and he can't throw. Now he can throw. Obviously, as we've seen, he's in top 3 MVP candidate. So, yeah, Ravens. Next game, going on to Sunday, Broncos at Bills minus 8.5. And I think that's crazy that spread's lower than the Ravens-Steelers game. I can go first. You can go first. Yeah, I mean, it seems like we're going all favorites, but the Broncos aren't beating the Bills. I would love the Broncos to beat the Bills. I like the Bills, and I think Josh Allen deserves some sort of award, MVP, Super Bowl, something. He deserves something tangible. But Broncos are fun and frisky, as the kids are saying these days. And I love Bo Nix, but the Bills are going to cover 8.5. Josh Allen has been electric, even with the makeshift wide receiver crew he has going on. And Cook has been seemingly getting better every year, every week. So I just think the Nick Cinderella run is going to come to an end.
Yeah, and I know I will make this one comment. I did say something about the young quarterbacks. I am just going to go ahead and say it. Nix is a rookie, but he's like 37 or something like that. So he definitely has some experience. I think he was in college for 10 years. He has 3 degrees.
13 years, I think, with his freshmen's. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. So I think that his experience could help him be a little better than some of the other rookies, just because he's been playing ball so long. But, I mean, again, I know I said that stat, but this feels like a game that could be closer than 8.5 points, but one of those games where the Bills are comfortably leading all game and, backdoor cover, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it'll go over. I think there will be a lot of points.
Yes. I like that. Marvin Mims on a deep ball. Lost my train of thought. Just the Bills have been here before. It seems like the Bills every year make it to the second round at least, so I just don't see that.
Yeah, and I feel like Josh Allen just loves it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, but also, are they looking past the Broncos? I mean, I don't think NFL teams do that, but are they looking at that Chiefs matchup already? And maybe they get a little ahead of themselves?
I don't think so, to be honest. I'm not like the biggest Josh Allen fan. I know he's a pretty polarizing guy, it seems like, but he seems like a pretty humble guy. He wasn't like highly recruited or anything like that. And I think he just loves to ball, and I'm sure he takes every game seriously. I can't believe I'm saying that about a quarterback that isn't my own team, but I honestly do feel like he seems like a guy who gets prepared to go to work.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about MVPs later, but Josh Allen sure made a great case for himself, and it seems like he was the lock until the last few weeks of the season. The next game, I think people know who we're going to take already, but it's Packers at Eagles. Eagles are -4.5.
I almost feel like that spread is a little disrespectful.
That does seem disrespectful. I mean, maybe because Hurts is kind of questionable still, even though I think he's definitely playing. But I think even if we had Tanner McKee, not to disrespect the Packers, who just lost Watson and Love got banged up and have been not looking amazing, almost lost to the Bears, or they did lose to the Bears. That's all you got to say. They lost to the Bears last week, and they played their starters.
Yeah. Yeah, but they were out at the end of the game. But yes, still pretty bad to lose to the Bears. I don't think that they had won a game in the division in, a long time? I don't actually know.
It was the only home game the Bears won all year. And it's the first time they beat the Packers in 11, I think, matchups.
Yeah. And I mean, we've been here before. We played this game on terrible turf before our offense knew what they were doing together. Now the Eagles are kind of the scariest offense. Actually, I will say the Lions are probably a scarier offense.
Oh, yeah.
But
I agree.
But the Eagles are a complete team. They have a solid secondary as well. I mean, the whole defense.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Eagles, and I feel like we should have one of those 2-score spreads. I'm kind of surprised we don't.
Yeah. I think the Eagles win. I think the Eagles cover. Games are won in the trenches, as they say, and we have the best offensive line in the league. The Eagles do, not we. I'll try to be unbiased. The Eagles have the best offensive line in the league. I think that's apparent. I mean, the lines are up there, and our defense is so deep. We just have guys rolling in there. I think we'll get to the quarterback. Love got a little banged up on his throwing hand, but he says it's no big deal. But of course, he's going to say that. And
Dude,
I think we just start off with running the rock with Saquon, and then as soon as that opens up, then the deep ball opens up too, and I think it's game over. Hopefully we can score in the first quarter, because it seems like when we do that, we dominate.
I will say, if the Eagles come out with a loss, we'll probably be gifted some incredible quotes from Jalen Hurts. He usually has some great things
Sirianni
to
will
say.
probably be fired the next day if we lose first round.
Yeah. Actually, I'm sorry to go back in time, but you're kind of reminding me of this. If the Steelers lose against the Ravens, which I think they will, I think that there's a real chance that Tomlin gets fired. They talked about it last year. I mean, he's like always winning. We know he's always has the winning season, but I feel like he's pretty average. We can save that for after our takes, but I think there's a real chance that Tomlin's gone.
Yeah, we can save that for a little later, but I don't disagree with that. It's kind of, he's good, but he's just good. He's not great, and it's the same thing every year. Next game, then, we got the other rookie quarterback in this, the Washington Commanders at the Tampa Bay Bucks, a classy -3 game.
You want to take this one?
Yeah, I was going to take it, which I don't want to take it, but I'll take it. I think this is the toughest. I mean, the next two are the toughest games. I want to take the Commanders. I think instantly I want to take the +3 and the Commanders to win. But then I feel like the Bucks do this every year, where like people count out the Bucks and then they're back. And Bucks haven't been playing great last few weeks. They were on a roll, looking really good in like the middle of the season, and they kind of took a slump. But they are good. They got a lot of guys. They lost Godwin on the way, but McMillan has come to play in his absence. But the Commanders, speaking of frisky and fun, like Bo Nix and the Broncos, I feel like he's just, not he, but like the Commanders are just a better Broncos, because I feel like the Broncos are all kind of deep ball, big play, and the Commanders are actually like a complete team. They got Ertz, the vet, who catches the middle. They got Terry, a great wide receiver, one option, and they have Robinson in the backfield with Daniels, who can run. So we've been saying all favorites. I'm gonna go Commanders +3, and I'll be bold and say the Commanders are gonna win, which even though playoffs, they win outright even if they cover.
Yeah, I agree with you on this pick, but I will say I think that the Bucks looked a little shaky last week, and as crazy as this is to say, I think that Baker Mayfield plays football like he's playing Madden, and I think he cared about Mike Evans' 1,000-yard season a little too much. And if you watched him in the game, it did feel like he was kind of forcing the ball to him, and like even if he's not throwing the ball his way, I think he's looking at him too long or looking at him twice and things like that. I think Baker's a dog, and last week was kind of a playoff game for them. They had to win to get in, and I think there was another way for them to get in anyway, but from their perspective,
if the Falcons would have lost, they still would have got in. But yeah, they had a very, very close game that they were losing for most of it against the Saints. So
yeah, and it's basically a playoff game. But again, I think I got to take the Commanders as well. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it could be one of the better games of the weekend. And it really just depends if Daniels can take the pressure or not as a rookie. I don't think that Baker cares at all. I think if anything, he gets better in a playoff game. But I still think that the Commanders will find a way to pull it out. Either way, I think whichever one of these teams wins, I think is going to be their only win of the playoffs, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's some formidable opponents that are in the divisional round then. But you touched on forcing the ball to Evans. Talking about forcing, you see Rodgers forcing the ball to Adams every play. Every play.
Dude, I feel like I say this every week, but I wish that they would just stay in the locker room and kiss each other instead of moving on the field.
I mean, there was like, I guess it doesn't matter. It's the Jets. It doesn't really matter, but there were some plays. I was watching the Red Zone. They showed some plays, and there was just guys wide open, and he was just pump faking, keeping the play alive just to throw it to Adams for that maybe last touchdown, even though I don't think Rodgers is done.
I don't either. We might touch on that later, too.
Yeah, quick tangent right there. I thought about that.
No, I totally agree. I hate those two. They must be a package deal in the offseason.
Yeah, and I've seen people saying, like, Rodgers to the Raiders makes sense, and I was like, no way, because Adams is not going back to the Raiders.
That's a fair point, but
they're going together. I think it's been a joke about the Vikings, but I could seriously see them losing to Darnold, and JJ's not ready, and they bring in Rodgers for 1 year, like Favre.
Let's give the last game its fair chance, and then we can get into some of that, because I have quite a few comments on a few of those things too.
Speaking of the Vikings, the last game, Vikings at Rams. -1.5 for the away team, the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams in this game. If you watched Sunday Night Football, what was supposed to be the best game all year, Sam Darnold looked exactly how I expected him to look 18 weeks ago. He looked terrible. All of the Vikings looked terrible. I mean, even Justin Jefferson is... he's my number one NFL receiver right now. And he just hasn't looked the same over the last few weeks. Maybe still putting up some stats, but not getting the ball as much. A lot of their success in weeks prior to that was Jordan Addison, who catches a lot of deep bombs, which is, blown coverages. I think there's going to be less of that in playoffs. I think McVay's a very good coach, and he'll be wary of things like that. They'll be able to bring enough pressure that Darnold's going to throw the ball inaccurately. And, yeah, I'm taking the Rams. All I needed to see was Sunday Night Football.
I agree with all your reasoning, but partly because we picked every game the same, and partly because I think that now the narrative is just that, and everybody's going to be picking the Rams because the Vikings look so bad, but I'm going to take the Vikings -1.5 because they were so good all year, and Darnold was so good, and I'm hoping this loss helps them kind of develop and see what is wrong, because they played the best team in the league at the Lions, and they saw how they got exposed. So I'm hoping they've worked on that in practice this week, and the Rams aren't as good as the Lions, and I'm hoping they can figure stuff out. And I feel like if that game didn't even happen, I feel like everybody would be taking the Vikings. Everybody would be taking the Vikings, but because of one game, everybody's taking the Rams. So I think the Vikings are still good. Donald's still going to get that bag in the offseason because of his performance in playoffs, and they're going to win one game, like the Commanders. Bucks, whoever wins this game is only win one game, I think. But the Vikings, I think, are going to win.
I'm going to catch you off guard here now that we've wrapped up all the games.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to take one of the longer dogs, so Steelers, Broncos, Packers, one of those three teams to pull off an upset. The other games are too close.
Yeah.
Of those three, who do you think is the best shot at pulling off an upset?
I mean, I'm obviously not picking the Packers. I don't think you're going to pick the Packers either. So, between the Steelers, and that's tough because Steelers-Ravens is divisional, and the Broncos are just fun. And they've been on a roll. I mean, they weren't really on a roll. I mean, last week they were on a roll. But I guess they were just playing the Chiefs, and the Chiefs were playing Carl Wentz out there, Eagles legend. So I guess I'm gonna take the highest spread. I think the Steelers have the best shot.
I could see why, but I'm gonna go with the Broncos. I think that Bo Nix has had the offense going pretty good lately, and if you can stop Josh Allen, there's not a lot of weapons. I think a very well coached game, you could probably pull off a big upset. I don't think it's gonna happen, but that's what I would take.
With wrapping up the first round, you want to just quick run off what we think is going to happen for the whole playoffs?
Sure, and we were pretty similar there, so I feel like we should probably line up with reseeding.
We can just do this real quick. So we both have Eagles first round. We'll just do you. So you got Eagles, and then you had Commanders winning.
Yep.
And then you had
that's going to be
Rams winning. And so who do you have with Lions Commanders in the divisional round?
That's going to be Lions for me. I think that the Lions defense is pretty banged up.
Yeah.
But their offense is ridiculous, and I think they could probably score. If they give up 40,
they're only
they
getting
can score
healthier
50.
too. The defense, they add people back every week. And Montgomery's back for divisional round.
So I'm going to go Lions there.
And then Eagles, you have Eagles-Rams.
I'm going to take the Eagles there.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. And then we have Lions-Eagles for your conference championships.
I think that the Eagles can slow down the Lions enough, and I think that their offense can also score with the best of them. So I think we get a little outplayed in terms of offense, but our defense is far better. I'll take the Eagles.
Okay, and then the AFC, you had Bills, you had Ravens, and you had Chargers. So you're going to get the Chiefs-Chargers in the divisional round.
Yeah, and it's going to be Chiefs over anybody, I'm going to be honest.
Okay, and then other matchup is Bills-Ravens, which sounds fun.
That sounds extremely fun, and to be honest, if the Bills don't flop, if the Ravens don't flop in the first round, and Lamar looks like he can throw the football, I think that the Ravens could honestly go all the way. So I'm going to take the Ravens over the Bills. I just think they have a more complete team. And then we'd have Ravens-Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I think that, honestly, as much as I hate it, I'm going to say Ravens because it's more fun, but I feel like, you can blame the refs, you can blame the experience of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and even Travis Kelce, who finds himself open in big moments. The Chiefs always win, and I feel like a fraud giving you a Chiefs-Eagles rematch, so I'm going to say that Lamar and Derrick Henry are unstoppable, and they get the job done. And we see Ravens-Eagles Super Bowl, in which I will not give an answer because it won't mean anything.
Fair enough. I can rattle mine off real quick. I had pretty much the same. My matchup would be Eagles-Vikings in the divisional. I'm taking Eagles too. So my NFC is still Lions-Eagles, and I'd be taking Eagles as well. And then the AFC, mine's a little different, so I can go over that. I have Bills, and I have the Ravens as well, and I have the Chargers. But I'm taking the Chargers over the Chiefs first round, or second round.
Wow.
I think Chiefs time is not over, but I think people are so focused on the three-peat. And I know I've done this little prediction challenge with all my friends the last few years. Everybody always forgot about the Chiefs. They always counted out the Chiefs. And I feel like this year no one's counting out the Chiefs. And that's now, they're going to disappoint now. And the Chargers-Chiefs is a divisional matchup, and every time the Chargers play the Chiefs, the Chargers look better. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they have their dark magic and win. but I feel like that dark magic has run out. And I know it's an upset. I'm not saying it's the lock of the century, but I think the Chargers squeak out a win against the Chiefs and shock the world. And then the Bills beat the Ravens. Same thing as you were saying, kind of, but the other way. Great game. Two great teams, but I think the Bills squeak it out. I think Lamar and the Ravens still are going to choke in the playoffs, which gives me Bills, Chargers, and I'm not that delusional. Bills go to the Super Bowl, and I'll say Bills Super Bowl just because I want the Eagles to win, obviously, but I'll make my prediction different to maybe half jinx it and be unbiased. But I think the Bills would beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl and break their streak of losing Super Bowls.
Fair enough.
What do you want to talk about next?
All right. What do we got? You want to talk about the draft? Coaching?
Yeah, we talk about the draft. Kind of goes with it.
Free agents? All right. Why don't you tell me who you think is going to go in the top 5 picks in the draft?
Sure. The draft order for everyone, it's locked up after week 18. Titans have the first pick. Browns have the second pick. Giants with the third. Patriots with the fourth. Jags with the fifth. And then whole others, but we're not getting into that. It's too soon for that much draft speculation. With the first pick, I think the Titans have to and will take Cam Ward. I don't know how you feel about that.
So I just saw something today. I agree with you. If you're drafting a player, that's who it has to be. But I did see, and this makes a lot of sense to me, we don't know what's going to happen with the Vikings yet, but can you imagine JJ is in this draft? He's definitely the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
And I think there's a real chance that the Vikings do decide to go with Darnold, which I think is going to be determined by whether or not he can win playoff games. I think there's a chance that some of these top draft picks are getting traded, and talks of JJ going somewhere instead of a draft pick are definitely.
I think there's a high chance
table.
of a top 5 pick getting traded.
To be honest, I think that JJ could get more than just the first. Maybe a future pick, maybe.
Yeah, I think JJ would get
accessory.
If JJ does get a first, I think he'd get probably a third and fourth attached to that. If he doesn't get a first, it's probably a couple seconds, then the third, and just a ton of picks. But this draft class for quarterbacks is not good. That's what teams want. Teams want quarterbacks, and this quarterback draft class is not good. It's going to be a lot of dart throws, I think, in the second round with Milroe and Dart. That was pun unintended. But I think Cam Ward is just the most solid option. I don't think he's anything spectacular, but maybe he can develop and become a good quarterback. What you're saying earlier with Bo Nix and how he's so old and that gives him an edge, I think that NFL teams are going to start moving towards drafting older quarterbacks / players staying in college longer, because it's been shown and proven that quarterbacks just aren't ready when they come out of the draft at 21 years old. Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold back in the day, Josh Rosen when he was a first-round pick, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, all those guys were bad. And now some of them, after they've developed and gotten older and more of a veteran, they're starting on playoff teams, and they're like top 10 quarterbacks.
Yep, I agree 100%.
But with that said, teams still need quarterbacks, and they're still going to try anything to make something out of possibly nothing. So quarterbacks go number 1, Cam Ward's go number 1. Number 2, Browns. I think that's an interesting pick because they have their guy, franchise guy, Deshaun Watson. But Deshaun Watson has done a few things in the past, and that's not play football well, is one of those. He's bad, but they have restructured his contracts, basically saying he's here for 2 more years. He's going to start. They're not drafting a guy to sit behind Watson, I don't think, and this isn't the draft class to do that. Last year, like what the Falcons did with Penix or any other guys, those guys could have. JJ was hurt, but he sat behind a guy. But you're not drafting a guy this year unless it's later rounds to sit behind someone. So I have the Browns taking Travis Hunter with the second pick.
Yep, I think that's pretty. I've seen that in a few mock drafts. I don't think that's crazy. I personally don't know if that's the best option.
Yeah.
I don't know what Travis Hunter's going to do, and I'll give it to him. He's a good player in 2 positions, and that's extremely impressive. But I don't know that he is unbelievable at either position. And I have to imagine he wants to be
either position.
Exactly, and I have to imagine he wants to be a receiver because he'll make more money. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know. That's what he wants to do, and that's what his camp's going to say. But there's no way he's not just a corner. But he's a good corner. And the thing is, what if he is the Shohei Ohtani of football, and he plays both sides really well and is incredible, and Browns passed up on him at 2 because they thought he was only a corner? Like, you got to take him. There's no one that just jumps off the board at you at 2. So I think you have to just take the chance on him. And he is good. He's not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. Is he number 2 overall pick good? We'll find out.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's really up to his girlfriend, isn't it?
Declines the trade. Ugh.
All right, where does that put us for number 3?
Colorado. We're sticking with it. I think Giants, kind of with all the points I just said, teams need quarterbacks. Giants desperately need a quarterback. Drew Lock. I mean, he looked incredible, but he's Drew Lock. They're taking Shedeur Sanders. He had the cleats on. He would like to go there. He's going to be on the board, and they're going to take him. Simple as that.
I think that Shedeur is one of those guys that is going to get drafted in the top 3, and I don't really agree with that. And I've seen a lot of you can vouch for me. I've been saying that for like a year and a half at this point. I never really liked him, and I never thought he was a great quarterback. I think his dad's name probably helps him get drafted high.
100%.
But
his popularity.
I mean, I honestly do think he has a chance to succeed in the NFL, but so do 3rd and 4th rounders, maybe even the 199th pick have a chance to succeed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he has the tools to succeed. I don't think he's the top 3, and I think whoever takes him is probably going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I think in my mind he's similar to a Caleb Williams and a Bryce Young. I didn't think Bryce Young was going to be that good out of the draft. He wasn't. I'm proven wrong now. He's been looking pretty good. I hope I am wrong. I like the guy. And Caleb Williams, I didn't think he was going to be all that, and he hasn't been all that. And hopefully, again, he proves me wrong and maybe develops. Maybe that's going with what I said earlier about these guys are just too young and not ready for the NFL, and they can develop in the NFL, which is hard to do because if you're not good on a team, you get cut as the quarterback. But I think Shedeur Sanders is kind of going to be that. He's going to be you draft him and just hope he plays well, hope he develops quickly. Whereas I think Cam Ward is he has a better chance to be a decent quarterback in his first year than Shedeur Sanders, but maybe not the highest ceiling of Shedeur Sanders. But I just think the risk is not worth it for the first pick. So Shedeur will be the second quarterback off the board with the Giants.
Yeah, I think this is a bit of a crazy take, but I think that Dart might be one of the better quarterbacks in the draft.
That was it's in my notes. I was gonna say my wild card of the draft is Jackson Dart. I think he is. It gives me vibes that Will Levis. This is a bad comparison, but it's just in my mind. Will Levis, when he played last year in his rookie year and came in, he looked pretty good, and I feel like that's what Jackson Dart's going to be. Some team's going to draft him as a backup, and he's going to come into a game and he's going to just like look good, and then it's going to be quarterback controversy. Should he start? And then who knows? Maybe he is good, maybe he's not. But I do think he has a little bit of an edge to him and a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to be pretty good in the NFL.
I do think he needs a coach, though. Someone to help him with his reads. Someone help him.
If a team's drafting him as a starter, I think he's doomed. But I think if he can sit behind someone, even if it's for half a year, but hopefully for like a full year, I think he'd be. I like him.
Agree.
4th pick. I don't know.
Number 4.
I don't know if a specific guy. I haven't dug that deep into the O line, but I think the Patriots. They're just taking. If they're not trading, they're taking an O lineman. Protect Drake May or Joe Milton. Hey, quarterback controversy in New England?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. But they got to protect the guy. They're going to do what the Chargers did: draft a great quarterback, and then every year draft an O line. And then look at the Chargers O line now, pretty good. Patriots draft an O line. I don't know the best one, but O line.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a chance that I keep saying trade these picks. That's because like no one's crazy good, but I think there's a chance that they do trade and try to get some depth on their line. The only problem is, like, I don't really think anybody wants to trade up in this draft.
Yeah,
I don't think these
4 is
picks
a
are
tough
worth
spot
all
to
that
be.
much.
If a team wants a quarterback, they have to go top 3. And who are you trading up for 4 to get? And because you're not trading with the Patriots, because the Patriots I don't think are taking McMillan or any of the top guys of another position. I think they're pretty locked in as a line. Their line is terrible, worse in the league probably. So I think they have to take a lineman. So I don't think anybody's going to trade with them to get another guy. They trade with 5 then, which is the Jags.
Yep, and I think that the lineman that they go after is probably Will Campbell from LSU. I did do a little bit of research on the line.
I saw his name. I just didn't want to say anybody because I think it's just
I don't know one way or another. I agree with you.
Last pick for this Jags. Same thing as what I did with the Patriots. Jags are taking someone on defense. Their offense was sparking a little bit at the end of the year, even with Mac Jones as quarterback. But Brian Thomas Jr. is really good. Really good. He's on my dynasty team, which I love. And they have some backs. I don't think Etienne or Bigsby is top tier, but they're a solid combo. I don't think they need to work on that right now. So I think they have some core pieces there that I think they just need to fix their defense, and hopefully they can be a little competitive next year then.
I'm not done with Etienne. I think he was was that last year that he was amazing? For like 12, 14 games or something like that.
I feel like he's like a worse Mike Evans.
Yeah.
He's good, but he's not good enough to talk about him like Mike Evans, and Mike Evans isn't good enough to talk about him like as a top 5 receiver.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
All right, let's do some fun names from the draft, though.
Okay.
Ashton Genty, what do you think's going to happen? You think he's going day one? You think he should go day one? You think he'll be successful?
He will go day one. It seems like in many, many years ago, as in like 3 or 4, no one took running backs in the first round. You only did it if it was Saquon Barkley or someone alike. But now it seems like every year there's one first-round running back, and it's been paying off pretty well. So I think it's not out of the picture that everybody always says the Cowboys, which does make sense. It does seem like a good pick for the Cowboys because Cowboys do have all the pieces. They just don't have a running game. I mean, they have Dowdle, which I do love Dowdle, but I don't think he is a top-tier RB1. But
I agree with you.
I don't know where everybody lies on the draft, but I can see Genty going like from that 16 to 20 range, someone reaching on him.
Yeah, I agree. He is my Heisman. I unfortunately think that he will not be very successful. Those numbers are ridiculous, almost suggesting that you're running in a style that is just not going to be applicable in the NFL.
Yeah, and he played against not top-tier college teams.
Exactly. He definitely got slowed down. He had a great game against Penn State, and he was probably the 3rd best running back in that game.
Yeah.
So
what he had like 100 yards, but he had like 50 carries.
Something ridiculous. I don't actually know the stats off the top of my head, but they definitely slowed him down.
Yeah.
I really like Scadaboo. I think that he's probably going to get drafted like late day 2 or day 3.
Yeah, I think
he.
You can go.
I'm just going to say that I think he runs the ball hard, and he seems like he can do it all. He can catch the ball as well. So I think he could be like another sneaky pick like Dart, where he could be one of the better running backs in the draft.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think it's going to be a later, probably 3rd, 4th, probably 4th, but I could see because of his like rising in popularity, him going in like a 3rd round because a team wants him and they're just going to take him. There's nothing that can stop him. That guy, he wants to get a first down. He wants to get a touchdown. He runs hard. They say Pacheco runs angry. Scadaboo runs hard. If you put a brick wall in front of that guy and you tell him to run, he'd run.
Yeah.
He's
it's
crazy.
kind of like me podcasting, I podcast hard.
We go hard. Yeah, more
right,
fun names.
Any other fun names? I mean, I gotta just give a little love to my boys. Abdul Carter
I think
Penn
it's
State.
Tyler Warren.
I have him on this list too. I think Tyler Warren is sick. Penn State always creates tight ends who are like pretty good, and like not the best, but like pretty good. I mean,
He'll be good.
He has shown that he's going to be pretty good, I think. I don't know where he's going to go. He'll probably go in the top 15.
I was going to say they're both top 15 picks.
Yeah, I think Carter's probably top 10.
And just so everybody knows,
he's probably better comparatively.
Trevor went to Penn State, so he's like a cool Penn State fan because he actually went there.
My degree.
What was that?
I literally have my degree on the wall.
I went to Temple University in Philadelphia. Trevor went to Penn State. So, kind of rival schools if you think about it.
Yeah.
Not much of a rivalry.
Highly competitive football team.
Maybe basketball competitive, but not football.
What do you think? How do you think Temple's football team is going to do this year?
Maybe we'll get 2 wins this year. Temple football's bad. I went to a few games. It's bad. We always get some decent recruits because it's a popular school in some minds, but I mean we're just bad. It's bad. It's a basketball school. We're not even that good at basketball. This year we're decent though. I hope we make the tourney. Want to round up with MVP talk?
Yeah, let's do it.
That's the question. MVP.
Yeah.
Allen, Jackson, Burrow. I mean, Saquon obviously has a run, but Saquon's not winning MVP, so.
We could talk about some of the other awards too, though.
Yeah.
MVP, it is Allen or Jackson, but I think that Burrow deserves to be talked about.
Yeah, he deserves to be said with those guys, even though he's not winning. No one thinks he's winning, I don't think, but he deserves to be named in the finalists as the third guy because he was incredible for the Bengals.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, his numbers are the best of the three, but I can't give it to anybody except for Josh Allen because if the award is for the most valuable player, if you put another quarterback on that team, even if you put Lamar on that team, if you put Mitch Trubisky on that team as their starting quarterback, I think they would win 2 games, maybe 0. Genuinely, I don't think they have they have some good players.
Ragtag group.
Yeah, I mean Shakir he's probably their best playmaker.
He's their wide receiver
and he's
one.
Not bad.
Khalil Shakir is the Bills' wide receiver 1. Which, I mean, I like the guy, but that's just crazy to say.
I agree with you. And who's at the 2? Amari Cooper? They have some good tight ends.
Cooper and Keon Coleman, and then, Kincaid and Knox, and then Cook. Cook's their best player.
He's got a bunch of average guys. Yeah. I mean, versus the Ravens, where Lamar is great, don't get me wrong, but he's throwing the ball to Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, who's a GOAT. Isaiah Likely, who's shown he's a GOAT. Rashad Bateman, who's
career year.
Arguably better than all of those guys we named on the Bills.
Yeah.
And he's standing next to Derrick Henry. James Cook is a pretty good running back as well. But I got to go Allen because I think he's winning games on his own over there.
If you're taking Allen, I am also taking Josh Allen. I've been a proponent my entire life. In like middle school, I wrote essays on the MVP and how it's like fraudulent because it's called the most valuable player, but really they just give it to the most popular player. So I've had a beef with the MVP award for a while in like all sports. But I think Jackson's numbers are better, and I think he has been maybe the better like traditional quarterback than Josh Allen. But Josh Allen is the most valuable player to his team. He has been doing it all year. Jackson has been doing it all year, but he kind of more had like a later season, better half. I get better second half, so I think it's more of a talk. I think it's gonna be a close vote, and I would understand why Jackson would win because his numbers are ridiculous. I think he's like the first player ever to have 4,000 passing, 800 rushing, and the first player ever to have 40 passing touchdowns with less than a certain amount of interceptions. Like, he's nuts. But just what Josh Allen was doing in those games, a 6-touchdown game, 5-touchdown game, 4-touchdown game every week, basically literally carrying the team on his back. I mean, he's my MVP.
Throwing the ball, running around the edge, catching a lateral, taking it. It's ridiculous.
Having receiving, a rushing, and a passing touchdown in the same game.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's Allen.
So then I'd bring us to the next award, Offensive Player of the Year. It's looking like it's going to go to Saquon.
Barkley.
I mean, he had a chance at the record. Do you think that Jamar Chase deserves to be talked about? Because I kind of do.
Yeah, he definitely deserves it, but I mean, it's probably tougher in our minds to realize it because we watch Saquon every week, but Saquon getting 2,000 yards and could have broken the record in 17 games. I know not 16, but could have broke the record. And what he was doing all season, and Jamar kind of was just like sneaky, the best receiver all year. I think he was just so above everyone, no one talked about him. It was kind of like the LeBron James effect. Like, he's so good that you kind of just forget about him.
If you take away, like, 2 games, so, like, let's say you take away his 2 games against, who was it that he had 3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
And what team did he do that against?
I don't know. He's on my fantasy team this year. I don't know, though. I just know that he got, like, 50
That's
points
terrible. So let me pull up some numbers. We don't have to be too formal. I feel like we've been too formal on this podcast already. Let's pull up his game log real quick. Because I want to get this right.
We've officially reached the second hour. No one's listening. We can talk about whatever we want.
True. If you take away his 2 games against Baltimore, you take away 460 yards and 5 touchdowns. That makes him a 1,200-yard, 12-touchdown player.
I mean, you can't take away all those yards, but yeah, if he just doesn't have like monster games, yeah, he's just.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with you. I agree with everything you're saying.
And he also has a 177-yard game with 2 touchdowns against Dallas. Like, that is ridiculous that he has these huge games, but like, I don't think he. To be fair, in the last few weeks, he has 90 yards for the last 5 weeks, but I don't know. I think that those few games really inflate his stats, and obviously he's doing it. He deserves the credit for it.
It's just he's the triple. He just won the Triple Crown in the NFL, which is very hard to do. So I mean, I think that's just like that's his main piece, which is like a fake thing that's made up. So,
but like, here's the thing: how many rushing yards did he have?
Yeah, did he have 2,000 rushing yards? I bet he didn't even have 10. Actually, he might have 10. He might have got a jet sweep.
He has 32.
Oh, maybe it's closer than we thought.
So I'm gonna hijack this a little bit.
Okay.
So I saw this stat the other day. Saquon's yards per carry this season was greater than the record-breaking season by Dickerson. He had more yards per carry. So a lot of people are arguing like the number of games you played is
doesn't
more,
matter,
so it
carries.
shouldn't count. People are saying. So then, I looked up the best seasons by yards per carry, and there's a couple names on there that you have to see. And okay, so I'm gonna start off by saying the highest are quarterbacks like Mike Vick.
Gotcha.
And he's averaging like 7. And I'm not gonna read you. I think he averaged 7 for his career, by the way. So I don't know about season, but for career, Vic is averaging most like 7. I'm not even going to read you some of these old heads. I just wanted to read you, like, after 2000, the top season is Jamal Charles.
Oh, I was going to guess Rashad. I was going to guess Rashad Penny because I know he averaged like 6 yards one season.
Dude, he is on here, and my mind was blown. That was 2021. That was like 3 seasons ago.
Yeah, he
3
was the
seasons
backup
ago.
to Chris
This
Carson.
guy had. That's ridiculous.
It's kind of like Kenny Gainwell this season averaged like probably 5 per carry. Like when he came in the game after Barkley, he just got like it felt like 10 yards a carry. He got a first down every time he catch the ball. That's what Rashad Penny did.
Yeah, but Rashad Penny had 750 yards that season. That's a lot of yards.
Yeah, I know he was good. Then he came to the Eagles and we never played him.
What happened to that guy? Do you know he has the most return touchdowns in college history?
Rashad Penny.
With 7? With 7.
Bring back Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
He was on the Birds. He was on the Birds. We never played him. We played him like week 1 last year.
So the guy up, you're right, he was on the Birds. But the guy above him for a season is Jamal Charles, this after 2000.
I love Jamal Charles back in the day.
Dude, I did not remember him being that good, but I'm pretty sure...
He was a monster.
He has the highest yards per carry in a career for a running back.
Wow.
I thought he had like some down years.
I think he did, but I don't think he played that long.
I wish you could see this,
seasons.
These are the only guys with pictures, the two that I just read. To be
guys
honest,
are-
Jamal Charles actually doesn't. The guy who has a picture is Jim Brown in 1963.
Yeah, Jim Brown, classic.
Other notable names, Barry Sanders and Alvin Kamara at 25. But I just wanted to share that because my mind was blown when I saw Rashad Penny on there.
Rashad Penny. Do you mind blowing that I knew that he was
Yeah.
on that list?
Honestly, yeah. Because I was talking to another one of my buddies, and he was also incredibly surprised that Rashad Penny was on that list. I
Get
will
down
say
with some
Barry
Rashad Penny
Sanders,
highlights.
6.1 in his season with 2,053 yards. I'm pretty sure that's better than Saquon this
Wow.
year, so maybe we need to be careful when using that argument.
Okay. But Saquon's still the offensive player of the year.
Yes. I don't even need to talk about anything else. That was
Yeah.
my only point of contention.
Yeah, defense player of the year.
Oh.
I think it's too hard to pick. It's like the most toss up it's ever been. It's like I'm not gonna make a pick.
Comeback player of the year. Does Sam Darnold deserve it, even though he's just coming back from being bad at football?
Yeah. Or
I think
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's him or Dobbins, right? Are they? I think they're the top two.
Burrow,
Oh, Burrow. Yeah. Oh,
which
that's tough.
is
That's
kind
tough
of
pick.
crazy.
I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
make a
like,
pick again because
Burrow-
I don't have I don't know the
I
comeback
wish-
player of the year.
I wish-
like, regulations.
I wish it was just anybody who made a big
There should be a
and I
comeback
would
player of the
give it to
year, and there
Darnold.
should be a most improved player.
Yes, there
So
you go.
you can distinguish the two. So you're not like
Let's
last year
get-
with Joe Flacco and DeMar Hamlin. They're two completely different situations. But you have to give it to one of them and say which one's lesser. It's tough situations. And there's
It
coach of the
wasn't
year.
very tough for me.
Well,
It
yeah.
wasn't very tough for me.
It wasn't that tough, but it's still like it's a
Understandable.
yeah. There's coach of the year,
Okay.
and then the rookies. I think Jane Daniels locked up offensive rookie of the year, but Bo Nix I think
Yeah.
should be getting more praise, but I think Jane Daniels does deserve it. And defense player of the year, it's Mitchell or Jared Verse from the Rams, and they're going to give it to Verse because they're not giving a cornerback that award, and he has no picks. So that's my take.
Yep. I agree with you.
Yeah. And then coach of the year, I don't even know who's up for it. I don't even
I'm
know.
clueless.
Yeah.
I'm clueless. I'll
I'm
tell
trying-
you
there's
what,
there's
it
definitely an obvious
shouldn't
answer.
be-
Oh, Kevin O'Connell's going to win it, right? For the Vikings. What he's done for that team.
Fair enough.
I've seen that
Yeah, probably.
I've seen that his agent has like there's been teams asking to trade for Kevin O'Connell.
That's a thing?
Yeah, you can trade for coaches, and I've seen. It might not have been real, but I saw something that people were reaching out to his agent and spurring up like trade rumors
Wow.
because what he did for that
That's
Vikings
pretty
team
cool.
was kind of crazy when you think about it. They were supposed to
It
be
is.
like bad, and they were good.
Yeah. And he did it with a worse quarterback.
They were one game away from being the first seed in the NFC, which is just crazy because I feel like all year people were talking about the Lions, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, and then the Vikings were
Yeah.
like above half those like the whole season, which is crazy.
Look at their game log. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't play. I know they didn't play
Cupcake.
the toughest opponents, but still, it's impressive.
No, I agree. Shout out him. Coach of the year.
Yeah, I think that's all we got for episode 1.
Yeah? Nothing else you want to include?
I don't think so. Got a hour 8 mark. I think it's pretty solid.
I agree.
If anybody watching, if you made it this far, if you can subscribe, comment, do all that stuff, let us know if you guys want us to talk about something. If you don't want us to talk about something, if you have any questions for us, just any feedback is good feedback. We appreciate you if you somehow made it through that gauntlet of us talking.
Yeah, I'm going to leave a little message here for my buddy Dylan. If you make it this far, I want you to mention the fact that I gave you a shout out because otherwise I'll know you didn't listen.
Yeah, the password you have to include is
Pickle.
pickle. You gotta mention pickle. That's for everybody.
All right.
If you know us, text us pickle, and we'll know you watched it to the very end.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.